Alright friends, welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to make a deep dive video on 5-amino-1-MQ. Before I get started guys, please remember that due to YouTube's community guidelines, standards, and I've seen it go both ways, but I want to keep it on the safe side, I will not be mentioning any sort of dosing in this video. I probably will link below an article that has dosing in it for you guys if you do want to see, but in this video, the one thing I will not be discussing is anything dosing related. So in this video, I want to give you guys a breakdown of 5-amino-1-MQ. What is it, how it works, my experience, what I've seen with other people, really just give you the rundown on if it's something that you should be interested in or if it's something that you should pass on. So with that being said guys, let's dive right in. So 5-amino-1-MQ is something that inhibits something known as nicotinamide N-methyltransferase, and I think I said that wrong. If I butchered it, I am very sorry. It's otherwise known as NNMT. Now, essentially, by inhibiting this, 5-amino-1-MQ allows for things like better weight loss, as this kind of activity is very prevalent in fat cells, and 5-amino-1-MQ also allows for higher NAD levels, as inhibiting the NNMT is vital and it's a vital pathway in helping to raise NAD levels. So of course you guys all know NAD as being the thing that helps with kind of the anti-aging in the energy processes, but that is kind of where 5-amino-1-MQ and kind of how 5-amino-1-MQ works. It essentially raises NAD levels and raises the amount of available NAD through inhibiting this thing known as NNMT. Now, again, this NNMT, which I'm going to, freak out having to say that every second of the video because it's very easy to stumble over that. But it has, roles in other things in the body other than just raising NAD levels, right? It's also found in fat cells, and so it plays a role in obesity. It also plays a role in type 2 diabetes. Essentially, it's all over in the body. So you're getting kind of a multitude of effects from 5-amino-1-MQ. And so with this, it's become, decently popular in the industry and in the space for being kind of a fat burning peptide. Now, one of the popular things that was happening with it is that it was being taken orally in a capsule format, and then people realized, as they typically do, that as an oral, it has a very low bioavailability. It's not crazy low. I believe it's somewhere in the 30s, like 38% or something, but it's not very bioavailable as an oral capsule. Now, the flip side is that, the peptide version came out, and now most research companies offer the peptide kind of injectable variant. Now, I've always found for myself that the injectable variant works better than the capsules, and on a milligram to milligram basis, it is significantly stronger. You get a better effect. I get more energy from it. I get just an overall better feeling from it. And so I'm someone where I will still use the capsules out of convenience, but if I had the choice, I would definitely use it as an injectable format. So now let's get into the benefits of 5-amino-1-MQ. And I also want to, when discussing the benefits, talk about kind of my personal experience, because for a lot of these benefits, they sound very good, but again, contextualizing them and putting them into context, I think is very important. So the very first benefit is going to be a potential impact on weight loss. Now, this is going to be the main reason that people use it. They throw it in as kind of like a fat burning peptide. And while this is a benefit of it, it is a feature of it. I will say, as a standalone weight loss agent, especially compared to what we have now with things like SLU, the GLPs, all of those things, even MOTS-C to a degree, the results are pretty underwhelming. And I'm someone who's used it at higher dosages. I'm someone who's used it as capsules, as an injectable. And for me, at least, the results from a pure weight loss standpoint were, not very impressive. I don't think it's a very powerful weight loss aid by itself. Now, when mixed into a stack with other compounds, I think it can be very synergistic and very helpful for the reasons and the benefits that I'm going to list after weight loss. But while this is kind of the key reason that people decide to kind of deploy it and use it, I think that there are much better options if your goal is going to be weight loss. Now, what I have noticed with 5-amino-1-MQ, which I do like, is that it allows for much better energy, much better kind of neurological function. My brain functions better on it. I get a little nootropic effect from it. Again, better energy from it. And I've also noticed too that it does help to improve my blood glucose levels slightly. Again, it's nothing crazy, but it does help to kind of improve that, and it helps to improve my energy, and it helps to kind of improve my cognition pretty well. Now, one of the original reasons why it was so popular is because people were saying that, it's an alternative to NAD that you don't have to inject. But again, as someone who's used the injectable version of 5-amino-1-MQ and as someone who has also used the capsule version, I think the injectable version blows the capsule version right out of the water every single time. So those are kind of the key benefits of 5-amino-1-MQ. Again, helps with weight loss, helps with blood glucose levels, helps with your energy, and can help with kind of neurological function. Some people get a bit of a anti-aging effect as well from the increased levels of NAD. I know some people who report that their skin and their hair feels better on 5-amino-1-MQ. This was never me per se, and I think that there are other compounds that I've noticed have had a much more impactful experience on that, like epithalin. But I will say that there are a lot of user kind of anecdotal reports that they have had success from the anti-aging aspect of it. And it makes perfect sense because, it's raising NAD levels. Now let's dive into some of the drawbacks of 5-amino-1-MQ, starting with its price point. 5-amino-1-MQ is one of the more expensive compounds, one of the more expensive peptides, as a capsule variant, as even in the injectable variant. It simply put is a more expensive product. And in my opinion, the cost of the product mixed with how efficacious it is makes it less favorable for me as someone who's kind of building out stacks for myself and building out stacks for my client. The problem is when you have compounds that are very expensive, they're in that $150 to $200 range on research sites, you really want to make sure you're getting your bang for your buck, because then you look at it like there's so many cheap, medications you can get out there that can achieve similar effects. So why would you spend that money? That money is probably better served somewhere else. So I think one of the biggest drawbacks with 5-amino-1-MQ is the high price point, with also the second drawback, a kind of abysmal response. Now, 5-amino-1-MQ, it does work, but for a lot of people, it's a very minimal response. And like I said, for myself and for a lot of guys I've coached, it's not like 5-amino-1-MQ is the needle mover that just drops weight off you like there's no tomorrow, like other things do. And 5-amino-1-MQ also isn't the thing that gives insane energy like MOTS-C. So you kind of find 5-amino-1-MQ in this weird middle ground spot. Now, there are people who love 5-amino-1-MQ, who have great experience with it, who kind of have it as a key central part of their stack. But the problem is that I've seen so many people have kind of abysmal results from it, or just results from it. And its high price point makes me not, super interested in promoting it on a high level. The third thing is a lack of a lot of human data on it. Now, I think that this goes for really all peptides, so I want to skim over this quickly because, again, it kind of applies to everything. But we don't have a lot of data on it, and so this, of course, means we're kind of guessing in the dark a little bit when it comes to how we are deploying this compound. So, again, those are, in my opinion, the main drawbacks. It's never been a compound where I've looked at it and said, oh, this is a very problematic side effect-ridden compound. But at the same time, it is a compound that I look at it and I say, this is an expensive compound, and a lot of people do not get great results while using it. So it doesn't really necessarily hurt anything per se, but I have seen that the results people get while using it are more abysmal. Now, the benefit or the good thing that I have seen, though, is with the injectable version kind of hitting the market, a lot more people have been having much more favorable results when using that. And I think that is going to be a massive kind of, game changer when it comes to the compound and just how efficacious it is. I'm excited to see kind of more of the user reports coming out from the injectable. I know I had a very good experience with it myself when switching from the oral to the injectable. All right, so now that we've discussed how it works, some benefits and some drawbacks, I've kind of discussed my experiences with it throughout the video as well, but I will give a quick rundown on my experience with it. Again, I implemented it with, my basic CRT protocol to see how well I would be able to lose weight on it. And to be honest, I lost weight on it just fine, but it's not a very big needle mover weight loss agent. I was impressed by the benefits of energy that I got from using it. But again, something like MOTS-C or even SLU, I feel like provides more energy, or SS31 provides more energy than 5-amino-1-MQ. So even from that aspect, I think it got a little blown away. A lot of people too, like I said, really like the cosmetic benefits from it because of the raised NAD variant. And it is a decent option for people who don't want to pin NAD. But again, my experience with it was I think it's an expensive compound, and I think it also, for a lot of people, has a high, not non-responder rate, but I would say minimal responder rate where, you know, people do respond to it, but it's a very minimal response. And again, for a compound of its cost, I'm not super kind of keen on it, not super fond on it. It's kind of one of the last things that I would add into a stack for someone. I would much rather see them just use NAD plus MOTS-C together than using 5-amino-1-MQ. But with that being said, let's wrap up this video and give my final thoughts. All right, guys, so I hope this video was helpful in kind of helping you to understand 5-amino-1-MQ and my thoughts on it. There's a lot of people who have really great results on it and who really like the compound. I just think for myself and guys I've coached, it's never been worth the price point per se. I do think the injectable variant hitting the market is going to open it up to a lot more potential benefits. And I think, in fact, the injectable is a game changer. And for me, the injectable version of it is way, way better than the oral. So I would say if you're someone who hasn't responded well to it, switch over to the injectable, give it a go for a few weeks, and I'm sure you will see some great results. But with that being said, guys, make sure to check out my website, biohackingu.com. I should have an article linked down below with even more information on 5-amino-1-MQ. I have a ton of stuff over there. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And until next time, guys, have a good one.